Charles Leclerc MONACO, 1996, is a driver who competes for the Scuderia Ferrari Formula One team. Leclerc is one of the great talents of his generation. His overwhelming success in the lower categories of the sport makes him one of the most interesting prospects on the international scene. He started in motorsports through karting in 2005. He achieved multiple successes in the French championships, including the title of cadet champion in 2009. In 2011 he was proclaimed world champion in the KF3 category of the CIKFI8. In 2012 he was proclaimed European champion of KF2 in WSK and European runner-up in its CIKFIA modality. He debuted in single-seaters in 2014, already under the representation of Nicolas Todt. His first competition was Formula No 2.0. He was runner-up in its Alpine category and made 3 podiums in its European variant. In 2015 he entered the prestigious European Formula 3, where he achieved 4 victories and 13 podiums. He was 4th in the championship. Charles Leclerc definitively burst onto the international scene in 2016, when he signed up for the GP3 series with the ART team. The Monegasque won the title in his first season with 3 victories and 8 podiums. In 2017 he ascended to the competitive Formula 2, a category that he dominated with an iron fist. His 7 victories and 9 podiums confirmed his Formula One potential. Charles Leclerc's relationship with Formula One dates back to March 2016, which is when Ferrari introduced him as one of the members of its Young Talent Academy. In 2016, Leclerc served as a development driver for the Haas team. He participated in free practice with the American team and tested with Ferrari. In 2017 he served as a test driver for the Sauber team. 2023, Ferrari. Charles Leclerc's year could be described as a roller coaster. In the first 3 races of the year, he had 2 unfinished races and a 7th place, something that helped Carlos Sainz take advantage in the other Ferrari. Although, yes, in the general count, the Monegasque has finished ahead of the Spaniard on 12 occasions: Azerbaijan, Monaco, Canada, Austria, United Kingdom, Hungary, Belgium, Japan, Qatar, Mexico, Las Vegas and Abu Dhabi. Finally, he achieved the goal of finishing 5th, or, in other words, ahead of the Madrid native by 6 points, but it does not seem to have been enough for a driver who in 2022 managed to be runner-up and even, on occasions, stand up to Max Verstappen. This season he was not in the mix on a regular basis, despite having achieved 6 podiums, half of which were second places. Nor has it posed a significant threat to the Dutchman in the race, because in qualifying it did make it more complicated for him. He has added 5 pole positions: Azerbaijan, Belgium, the United States, Mexico City and Las Vegas, the last 3 in a row. But none of them ended in victory, something that, for example, Sainz did. It was not an easy year, much less a comfortable one, marked by several reliability problems with the SF23 and even a pinch of bad luck. In fact, he was one of the 2 disqualified, along with Lewis Hamilton, in the United States Grand Prix due to excessive wear of the plank. And shortly after, in Interlagos, he had an accident on the formation lap due to a problem in the car's hydraulic system. On that occasion, for example, he had serious chances of a podium by starting from the front row. The truth is that it seems that the SF23 did not quite adapt to him, nor did he to the car. He suffered a lot throughout the entire course despite having managed to save the furniture, tying with Fernando Alonso for 4th place in the general classification, although with a Spaniard ahead for having added more podiums. 2022, Ferrari. Charles Leclerc has entered his 4th season as a Ferrari driver in 2022, a year in which he achieved his best result in the championship since his arrival in the category in 2018, being runner-up. Leclerc started the year as the big favorite, with 2 wins in the first 3 races, with Grand Prix included in the Australian Grand Prix. The Monegasque led the standings with a big advantage during the first part of the championship. But difficulties soon appeared at Ferrari. The F175 had reliability problems that forced the Monegasque to abandon when he was leading in Barcelona and Baku. Likewise, the Maranello team's strategic errors, such as in Monaco or Hungary, also cost Leclerc barely, who went from leading to 2nd in the World Cup with a big difference with Verstappen. In the second half of the season, The difference with the Dutchman was already too great, and Leclerc even saw the runner-up position endangered, which he finally achieved in the last race of the season in Abu Dhabi by finishing ahead of Perez. Of course, Leclerc is the undisputed pole man of the season, achieving the fastest lap up to 9 times in qualifying. 2021, Ferrari. The status of undisputed top driver within Ferrari was unexpectedly broken in 2021 for Charles Leclerc. The arrival of Carlos Sainz and his 4 podiums put a Monegasque driver in trouble who had a year of lights and shadows. On the 16th he achieved the only 2 poles of the year for Ferrari, in the urban circuits of Monaco, his home, and Azerbaijan, but he could only add the Silverstone podium to his list of trophies. In Monaco, he could not start due to his own accident in Q3 on Saturday. And in Great Britain he was overtaken by Lewis Hamilton with 3 laps remaining. 2 victories that Leclerc touched but did not achieve. Thus, the Monegasque finished 7th in the World Cup, 2 positions behind Carlos Sainz, and with the bitter feeling of even losing in 4 of the last 5 classifications of the season. In addition, Leclerc finished outside the points on 4 occasions while his teammate was the only driver to see all the checkered flags of the year 2021 in Formula 1. In Imola, Spain, Azerbaijan, Monza, Turkey and the United States, Leclerc stayed just outside the podium, hoping that 2022 will be his first real opportunity to fight for a title, after being beaten in points by his teammate for the first time once in his career in F1. 2020, Ferrari. Charles Leclerc's 2020 season was a roller coaster. In a year in which the Ferrari left much to be desired, the Monegasque shined in several races, but in others he produced unforgettable performances. Of course, if we take into account the performance of the SF1000 and the results of his teammate, Sebastian Vettel, the balance of the year was clearly positive. Leclerc had one of the best races of his life in the first Grand Prix of the year, with a 2nd place, which was ultimately the best result of Ferrari's campaign. That was the upside, since the downside was the following weekend. His GP lasted 3 corners, as he overtook his teammate at the start, ending both of their races and leaving the Scuderia without points. After a 0 in Hungary, where Vettel surpassed him, Charles took advantage of Bottas's puncture in Silverstone to shine and took 3rd place and the 2nd podium of the year. The following week, great tire management took him to 4th position. In Spain the good streak came to an end. He anticipated a retirement and drove 2 laps with his seat belt unfastened before retiring his Ferrari. The shortcomings of Ferrari's engine were evident especially in Spa and Monza, 2 more races without points for them. In addition, Leclerc lost the car and crashed into the Parabolica in the Scuderia's home Grand Prix. In the 1000th Ferrari GP at Mugello, Charles qualified in 5th position, but he could not maintain it, and in the race he fell to 8th place. Charles continued to save Ferrari's furniture with points in both Russia and the Nürburgring, achieving a 4th place in Portugal and a 5th in Imola. In Turkey he had the podium in his hand, but a mistake on the last lap, when he was fighting for 2nd position, caused him to fall to 4th place. In the first race in Bahrain he took his last point of the season by finishing in 10th place. In the 2nd he made a perfect lap and qualified in 4th position, but his GP lasted 4 corners as he overtook Sergio Perez and Max Verstappen. His year ended with a non-points final in Abu Dhabi. The Scuderia finished in 6th place in the Constructors' Championship partly thanks to Leclerc, although far from Renault. Charles scored almost 75% of the team's points. For 2021 Leclerc will continue with Ferrari, in what will be his 3rd season dressed in red. The Monegasque says goodbye to Sebastian Vettel on the other side of the garage and receives Carlos Sainz. They will form the youngest pair of Scuderia drivers since 1968. 2019, Ferrari. Leclerc landed at Ferrari for the 2019 season. The Monegasque made the jump to the team of his dreams, with which he grew little by little in the world of competition in lower categories. Bahrain arrived and Leclerc gave a master class to the controls of the SF90. However, his engine failed a few laps from the end and he had to settle for his first podium in the Premier class in the face of what was clearly going to be a certain victory. The 16th continued to pressure Vettel in the following events to such an extent that the Ferrari wall had to resort to team orders to stop the Monegasque on certain occasions. At the Austrian GP there was the first duel between 2 of the drivers of the new generation of the Grand Circus. Leclerc against Max Verstappen. Once again, the Monegasque put in the masterful performance, but the Dutchman hit him with an axe just a few laps from the checkered flag and took the victory away from him. After the summer break, Ferrari resurfaced after some poor performance races. Leclerc achieved his first victory in Formula One in Belgium, but this was overshadowed by the death of Formula 2 driver Antoine Hubert. The Monegasque maintained his streak in the Italian GP and achieved Ferrari's first victory in Monza since Fernando Alonso in 2010. The driver, who turned 22, closed his first season in Maranello by renewing until 2024 with them and a total of 7 poles, more than anyone, 2 victories, 10 podiums and 4 fastest laps to finish 4th in the World Championship, ahead of his teammate Sebastian Vettel. 2018, Sauber Charles Leclerc debuted in Formula One in 2018 with Alfa Romeo Sauber, after a meteoric passage through the lower categories of motorsport, with overwhelming victories in the Formula 2 and GP3 series. Leclerc arrived at a reborn Sauber that took a step forward after 2 consecutive seasons at the bottom of the standings. The C37 turned out to be the 6th or 7th best car on the grid, more competitive than the Toro Rosso, McLaren and Williams, and capable of fighting for access to Q3 and the points. The Monegasque added his first points in the Premier class at the Azerbaijan GP, where he finished in a creditable 6th position. 3 races later, at the French GP, he got his first access to Q3. Race by race, he established himself as the leader of his team, a driver capable of achieving results superior to the car's potential. Leclerc was especially brilliant in the last 7 rounds of the calendar, in which he scored 5 times and retired in the remaining 2. He accounted for 39 of his team's 48 points that season and outscored teammate Marcus Ericsson 17-4 in the qualifying sessions. In September, the Ferrari team announced that Charles Leclerc would replace Kimi Raikkonen at the Scuderia next season.